Oh, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, the new millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now with you. You are listening to and hopefully watching the HoloNet on the mighty Mojo 50. Good Memorial Day weekend to you. It is Saturday, the 25th of May in the year of our Lord 2019. And if you are listening, it is 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern, where you can catch the HoloNet. You catch our replay tomorrow, same time. That will be on Sunday here on Mojo 50 Radio. So, jumping into this week, and a whole ton has happened. We're going to jump across the pond in a little bit, but first we have some local things to handle here in the good old US of A. First, a little housekeeping. Did have to throw a shout out to a listener, great friend of the program. Goes by the handle James in Louisiana on the MeWe's. And James has delivered the cowbell. I have been informed by many people, both in the fan base, the mighty Mojo 50, and also my fellow hosts, that the bell, in the tradition of the late great Doc Thompson, cannot be purchased. One must be acquired. And I had acquired one during MojoCon 2019, but alas, it disappeared from my workstation in the course of those events on that crazy day last month. So, James in Louisiana was good enough to send me my very own replacement bell. So you can bet we're going to be ringing that bell every time that something winds up being a little hard to get through. So we're going to have that here as a move forward. And yes, I've retired my very electronic sounding crappy bell, but I still have the crappy rim shot. So that's still going to be regularly featured. And of course, we're going to be talking about Senator Bernie Sanders. So whenever we talk about Senator Bernie Sanders, and of course, if AOC should ever rear her head. So we're all set with all the sound bites here, and I think the overlays we're just going to have to wait on. It's going to be kind of a one-man show, kind of personal, just me to you. A little bit of chit-chat and a little bit of everything else that's going on. But before we do that, I wanted to talk to you really quickly about an event that's coming up. Mojo 50 is going on the road, boys and girls. That's right, Mojo 50 is going to be hitting the road this summer, and our first stop is going to be in July at Wake Forest, North Carolina. We'll be there to help celebrate the grand opening of the Tar River Arms new retail location there. Show hosts will be there with live remote broadcasts. They'll be on hand with prizes and giveaways, so plan to come out, meet the faces behind the voices, and shop for your next gun purchase. Stay tuned to Mojo 50 for more details, and if you will be celebrating an event with your business and would like the Mojo 50 crew to be on hand to help, let us know by contacting info@mojo50.com. Again, that's info@mojo50.com, and we will be at Tar River Arms in Wake Forest, North Carolina this July. Can't wait to see all the crazy stuff that's coming out of there. If you haven't kept up on Facebook, the developments are really intense. The place is starting to look good. You know, the owners have been really on it about keeping up on their social media marketing, showing off the pictures as the building comes together. This is going to be a solid gun shop, so make sure you check it out. So now, on to the day. We have to get into it. We have to. And I wanted to start with something a little light today, and it's from LifeSite News, so take with a grain of salt. But this news is coming to us from Ontario, Canada, Windsor, Ontario in Canada, dated May 23rd, from LifeSite News. Apparently, a biological male who says he is a woman has filed a human rights complaint against a hair removal spa in Ontario. The male claims he was discriminated against after he couldn't get a Brazilian wax because the Muslim woman on staff doesn't wax the male genital area for religious reasons. The anonymous trans woman complainant alleges that Mad Wax Spa in Windsor, Ontario, denied him services because of his gender identity and expression. The male is seeking $50,000 compensation for immense harm to my dignity, CTV Windsor reported. So, going back to the direct links here, this story would seem to check out, going to the CTV story. The manager, Jason Carruthers, returned the call of the customer, and the customer alleged that Mad Wax does not provide waxing services to men and that the waxer is a Muslim woman who's not comfortable with waxing male parts. The complainant claims to have offered to educate the manager on his duty to accommodate, and then sought the treatment, the waxing elsewhere. So we go back to LifeSat. According to the Windsor Star, the complainant alleged that he called the spa on March 17th, spoke to an employee asking explicitly whether it provided services for transgendered women, then asked to speak to the owner. So, the anonymous transgendered woman alleged in the complaint that he, quote, offered to educate the manager on his duty to accommodate trans people. And this is actually going before a human rights tribunal in Canada. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is your prima facie evidence of why I feel that conservatives and libertarians are going to have a leg up in the upcoming elections, because they're starting to eat each other on the left. Here we have an LGBTQ group going after a Muslim group, and it's a game of dueling, what do they call that? Adversity points from the SATs last week. This is your dueling adversities, your dueling oppression scale. Who is the more oppressed person here? The Muslim, I don't know, would you call the person a waxer or a waxing employee? Anyway, the Muslim woman who is employed by Mad Waxes, or the transgender woman who checks more boxes. But a woman by the name of Kaylee, she actually tweeted on this. She said, "Man believes it is his human right to force a woman to wax his body without her consent. Sues for 50 grand. Holy rape culture." So I think that gives you an idea of the direction this is going to go. And we have to try really hard not to enjoy stories like these too much. What we have to try harder to do is not be like them. A lot of people have been talking about, libertarians needing to break away from conservatives from libertarians, that we have to have this purity test of our socio-political beliefs. No, now's not the time to be quibbling over minor things. We agree on far more than we're going to disagree on, and I think you'll find that as we continue through this journey here on the HoloNet, that you may not agree with everything that I have to say, but I think we agree on enough. I'm quite a bit more conservative than a lot of my colleagues, because it's a libertarian talk station. I've always been more of a conservative libertarian than a liberal libertarian. Some things I'm conservative on, other things I'm liberal. But we need to bear in mind that there are bigger things at stake. And along those lines, we go to a Washington Times article. Texas, the state of Texas, is asserting their state sovereignty in a case against the federal government. And this is a rather interesting piece. Texas is asserting its sovereign immunity against Congress, telling Democrats on 2 congressional committees this week that the state has no obligation to comply with the investigative demands of Congress. Attorney General Ken Paxton's office says that a state with sovereign powers under the Constitution, Texas can't be treated like a federal agency or a cabinet secretary who can be compelled to comply. Quote, Texas does not draw its authority from the United States or the United States Constitution, but from its status as a dual sovereign within the Union. Now, a lot of people don't know the history behind the concept of dual sovereignty. So we're going to run through that real quick. Dual sovereignty is the concept under the 10th Amendment to the United States that the United States as the federal government and the states are co-sovereign or dual sovereign. So it's a maxim of the law that allows the double prosecution of a person by more than one state for the same crime, where both states have jurisdiction over the prosecution, and notwithstanding the double jeopardy rule is the legal definition But when it comes to a legal question between the federal and state government, it does not allow for the federal government to directly assault areas in which the state is sovereign under the 10th Amendment. Under the 10th Amendment, any powers that are not specifically delegated to the Congress by the Constitution are reserved to the states and to the people. So over these facets of governance, the states are sovereign. The federal government does not regulate, for example, the distribution of electoral college votes. That's actually handled on the state level per the Constitution. Nor does the federal government regulate the offices of the state, the governors, the legislators, the state officers. Those are all governed under the state's constitution. So we go to reason, and we can look back to December 2018, where dual sovereign doctrine came under attack. And it was a case that involved a federal conviction for being a felon in possession of a firearm, where a gentleman by the name of Gamble was stopped in possession of a firearm, a crime under both federal and state law. He pleaded guilty to the state version of the charge in Alabama, serving 1 year, and the matter seemed to be finished. But then the U.S. attorney filed the federal version of the charges against Gamble, same crime, same conduct. Gamble argued the Fifth Amendment's prohibition of double jeopardy barred the second prosecution. The lower courts, however, ruled against Gamble, concluding that the dual sovereign doctrine allows separate sovereigns, in this case Alabama and the United States, to pursue separate prosecutions for the same crime. So without getting into too much legal doublespeak, if you'll excuse the pun about, double speak and double jeopardy, bad joke. If you'll excuse the doublespeak there, the knife cuts both ways. If the federal government insists on dual sovereignty when it wants to get you for two separate crimes, like, if they wanted to get you for possession of marijuana, but it's not a crime in your state, but it's a federal crime, then they claim dual sovereignty. But in this situation, it's coming back to bite them in the ass, because Texas is claiming that under dual sovereignty, the state of Texas cannot be compelled to turn over documents to the federal government in an ongoing congressional investigation. In this particular case, the congressional investigation is centering around Texas's efforts to clean up their voter rolls. So both the state attorney general and also the assistant attorney general fired off letters to the House Ways and Means Committee rebuffing their attempts, saying the state won't stand to be treated, quote, like a subdivision of the federal government or a private citizen. Granting Congress the power to exercise oversight over the constitutional officers of a state engaged in the lawful exercise of that state's core authority would undermine the fabric of our system of dual sovereignty, Mr. Mateer wrote. The defiance in some ways tracks that of President Trump, who has said the House Democrats' investigations into the president's business, family, and a myriad of other officials are harassment. So now, not only do we have House Democrats harassing the President of the United States, his family, his business partners, and his cabinet, no, now we have the Congress, the Democratic House, attacking an entire state's sovereignty because it happens to be a red state that is exercising its authority in the direction of small government and the fidelity of its elections. Go figure. Because I guess in Texas, they really want as many illegals voting as humanly possible because that's the only way they can turn it blue. Isn't that interesting? Texas is objecting to Democrats' requests for documents probing the state's efforts to clean up its voter rolls and documents detailing the state's efforts to protect faith-based adoption and foster care providers against an Obama-era rule about working with same-sex couples. The clash could break new legal ground. Ken Cuccinelli, former Republican Attorney General for Virginia, said he never encountered the situation during his time in office, but he added the two constitutional principles are at stake: the sovereignty of states and the supremacy clause, which gives the federal government an edge in clashes with the states. He said, though, Texas makes a strong case in its letters for why it will prevail. He said, Congress doesn't get to do oversight over states, period, nor can they compel action by state officers. If I were a betting man, I'd take Texas and give 2 touchdowns on this one. So, something to pay attention to, because the ongoing battle now is for the sovereignty of the states. The 10th Amendment is under continual and sustained attack by Democrats in every level of government, because Democrats do not want a true federalist representative republic. They do not want that. They want exactly what they claim our country is. They claim over and over again that we live in a democracy, and you have to stop and you have to correct it at every turn. No, we do not live in a democracy. In fact, I'm gonna go to the resource that I was taught to use way in the back when, in the 90s when I was in school, and we actually had the CIA World Factbook as one of our biggest guides, right? So when you look at the government of the United States, the government type is a constitutional federal republic. This is according to the CIA Factbook, the World Factbook. This is a resource for all levels of the world. Constitutional federal republic. Okay? It doesn't say democracy. It doesn't say parliamentary monarchy. It doesn't say socialist republic. No, a constitutional federal republic. That means the states are co-sovereign with the federal government, and that they must abide by the Constitution of the United States. Not if the Democratic Party has its way, not if the progressive liberals have their way. Then we will be a democratic socialist state. So every time somebody says, "This is a democracy," make sure you point out their error. It is not, nor has it ever been, a democracy. It is a republic. And it is a republic in order to save us from these type of extremist bents. Whew, went off on a tiny bit of a tear there. But, while we're talking about defending our freedoms, the desperate left is creating chaos that we won't be able to reverse if we don't stop it now. Extreme far-left politicians have become unhinged. Media bias is at an all-time high, and anti-Semitism is running rampant. You don't have to shop at liberal cell phone companies that fund liberal agendas to take away your freedom. No, you can support your values with veteran-led Patriot Mobile, America's only conservative cell phone company providing reliable nationwide coverage. It's easy to switch. Keep your same phone number, bring your own device, buy a new one, enjoy no hidden fees, no roaming, and no liberal agenda. At Patriot Mobile, more than $2 million has been used to support your constitutional rights. Imagine what we could do with you on our side when you switch to Patriot Mobile. With unlimited talk and text plans starting as low as $25 a month, don't wait. Visit patriotmobile.com/Mojo50. Join us here at Mojo and stop the left and switch to Patriot Mobile today. We need you now more than ever. Visit patriotmobile.com/Mojo50. Again, that's patriotmobile.com/Mojo50. All right, then. A little troubling where things are winding up, isn't it? I haven't got too much time. I think I can jump into one more story before all this business comes about. Oh, yes, I know exactly what I wanted to tell you about. Today is, Saturday before Memorial Day. But today, you know what's going on? There's actually an event out there I want you to check out. It's from a group called Operation Enduring Gratitude. Not Enduring Freedom, that was different. Operation Enduring Gratitude is actually an event that is hosted here in Phoenix. And it is put on by a man named Charlie Ellis. And they deploy what they've come to refer to as ammo ramps. Ammo ramps are handicapped access ramps that are installed in the homes of U.S. veterans. And they don't just do ramps, but they also do overall improvement of veterans' homes, which if you've been to some of these VA-loan homes, not all of them are in fantastic shape. And a lot of our injured veterans have a hell of a time getting the money put together to keep their houses in nice, livable condition. So this Saturday, they are doing an extreme home makeover for Gilbert Lopez, and you can actually find that on the HoloNet Facebook if you want to participate. That is actually going on today. in Glendale, Arizona. And even if you can't make it to that, you can go to the Facebook page of Operation Enduring Gratitude. That's at Veteran Extreme Home Makeover on Facebook, and you can contact Charlie Ellis. It's a great group. There's over 6,000 people supporting this on Facebook, and it's just an amazing group of patriots who are taking care of our veterans here in the state of Arizona with their ammo ramps. And their mission is to assist veterans to improve the quality of life so they can enjoy and love the country they fought so hard to protect. You want to visit them online. It's www.operationenduringgratitude.org. Again, www.operationenduringgratitude.org. We also have on the HoloNet page on Facebook, that's facebook.com/HoloNet, the option to give a donation toward Operation Enduring Gratitude. And if you can swing that, it's going to go toward veterans in need of concrete wheelchair ramps at no cost to these veterans. You can also contact Operation Enduring Gratitude, 623-428-9319. Please tell them the HoloNet sent you. They are long-term friends of the program. I interviewed Charlie Ellis, who runs that outfit, back in 2017, I believe. Awesome guy. We've kept in touch, and they're just doing amazing things. Any way you can manage it. I know that Matlock earlier yesterday was out on the golf course, and he was talking to a bunch of veterans and, doing great things there, doing good things for the community. Wherever you are in this beautiful country of ours, remember the men and women who fought and died for the freedoms that we cherish today. Remember the reason for Memorial Day. Honor our veterans, absolutely, but today is the day for the veterans who didn't come home. Today's Memorial Day. So do everything you can to keep their memory alive and to honor the sacrifice that they made, the ultimate sacrifice for American freedom. And we try our best to live up to that sacrifice every single day. And it truly is humbling to see the community come together and do something great for our men and women who have served. And I've had the honor to attend a few military funerals in my life. And one of the really simple things you can actually donate to, there are organizations that do this all over the country, that just pay for a military burial for a soldier, a sailor, a Marine, an airman who perhaps doesn't have any family left. So look for those opportunities. Look for those groups near you who are dedicated to our fighting men and women. And hoist that beer proudly today. Enjoy that hot dog with your kids. Hamburgers off the grill, steaks, whatever you're cooking up for this Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy the freedom that was purchased with our dearest blood. And remember those who sacrificed for you. We're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we have to jump over the pond, as it seems like the Theresa May administration has come tumbling down. You're listening to the HoloNet on the mighty Mojo 50. We'll be back. Oh, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, the new millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now with you. You are listening to and hopefully watching the HoloNet on the Mighty Mojo 50. Now, yeah, we got to get to it. Big news coming out of the UK. Make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in the upright and locked position. We got to jump over the pond. Hit me with the horns, Tony! And demonetized. I'm serious. Did you know that every time I've used that, I've gotten like instantly demonetized on YouTube? I don't know who the hell owns the copyright to Rule Britannia, but that's like a copyright to the national anthem of the United States. I mean, that's some bullshit. I mean, the only other time I think I got popped worse was when I played a speech by Calvin Coolidge. It's a very famous speech, you know, since I'm demonetized anyway. I can see if I can find it here. But it is that, oh, goodness. I want the people of America to work less for the government and more for themselves. I've got it here. Hang on. I gotta play the damn thing because it's amazing. Quote montage. Here it is. All right, so demonetized in 3, 2, 1. Seriously, they demonetized me for this. I mean, seriously, what the... I mean, they demonetized me for this. This is a 100-year-old speech that is in the Library of Congress. It is public record. And somebody on YouTube said, excuse me, that's part of my album. I own the copyright on that. Oh, no, you don't. Yeah, you don't own that at all. I mean, that is national record, just like Rule Britannia. Anyway, I digress. Reason that I wanted to jump across the pond today is because Theresa May, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, at least until like next week, has announced that she will be stepping down. And it was a very, very tearful and difficult to watch, difficult to listen to speech. Really, really rather sad. So let me see if I can cue that up for you. You know, Theresa May has had some pretty severe problems as Prime Minister of the UK. I'm not going to lie. And in the beginning, I misjudged her. And you can go back and look at my old shows, I thought that she was going to be the next Iron Lady. I thought she had it in her to be the next Margaret Thatcher. But, you know, time has proven that to be just not the case, unfortunately. And her handling of Brexit has been absolutely god-awful. God-awful. And, you know, she broke up a little bit at the end. You can tell she was very, very upset. And I feel for her. You know, I never want to see anybody cry. And I certainly don't want to see, you know, somebody who had a lot of the world's respect at first doing that. But here we go. We're gonna go to that audio now. I think I can make it work here. Let's skip ahead a little bit here. Okay, here we go. Damn, that's hard to listen to, isn't it? I mean, you get a little choke right here, you know, just right here in the chest. Hang on, let me fix this. Yeah, there we go. Let me shut that off. But it's coming to an end. The Brexit struggle is coming to an end, and now it's looking like we are going to see, according to the Telegraph and most other British sources, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, former Foreign Secretary and Minister of Parliament, and a hardcore leaver in the Brexit camp. He has already stated and assured the people that he will execute a crash Brexit or a no-deal Brexit if that is all they can do. And many people on the ground in the UK have pointed to the government in Ireland informing the UK that Europe and Donald Tusk and the European Parliament have zero interest in renegotiating Brexit with a new Prime Minister. So any potential changes to the horrific deal that Theresa May, I want to say negotiated, but she really didn't. It was more forced on her. No further negotiations on that deal are going to happen. So the UK is going to be forced to take a no-deal crash Brexit, and it is going to be rough. So buckle your seatbelts, kids. It's going to get ugly in the UK. We need to pay very close attention to our allies over the pond because they are capping off a very, very dicey election right now. There's going to be a power struggle in the Conservative Party and the Unionist Party to determine who will be the next Prime Minister. And the Labour Party is making a big move to try to capitalize on the situation and call yet another general election. So right now, our biggest ally in the world is unstable. And so are we here at home. The West has been effectively destabilized by Brexit, and here in the United States, by the ongoing perfidious, insistent investigations of President Trump, the endless mudslinging, and their outright refusal to actually man up and bring impeachment charges, which tells me that they have no case, but it is much more to their benefit to continue just hurting and damaging the president. You know, why impeach him when you can just talk about impeaching him for 3 years and build it up and build it up and build it up and try to push him out of office? So, with the instability over in the UK, the instability here in the US, are you protecting your home? As if you are, and if you're protecting it the way that many patriots do with your Second Amendment rights, you really want to consider the gun box. So the mission of the gun box is to help keep kids and families safe while having access to a firearm readily available. The line of gun safes has an audible alarm if moved or tampered with, an add-on mobile alert subscription that'll send a notification straight to your smartphone if the safe has been moved or tampered with, or if the battery drops under a specific percentage of charge. No other gun safes have this much tech and features as this line. The Gunbox 2.0 is the ultimate quick and accessible handgun safe. It's ideal for securing your firearm when not carrying it on your person. The cutting-edge technology and innovative safety features provide peace of mind while storing your handgun on a nightstand, a desk, a countertop, or anywhere you might need fast access. You can swipe a finger, press a custom key code, or wave an RFID card or fob, and the gun box opens in seconds. It's a modern design, sleek lines that make it not only a great addition to any space, but it's the perfect reason to bring your everyday carry gun out from hiding in the closet or the basement safe. Ask yourself, Will my concealed carry weapon fit in the gun box? The answer is yes, as the gun box fits most full-size handguns with room to spare for extra mags, a blade, or any other items you might carry for protection. The gun box is designed to be your go-to gun safe. It's absolutely the best alternative for fast, reliable handgun storage. When you go to the gun box, check out Mojo50 at checkout. 10% off orders over $159. Again, that's the gun box and Mojo50 at checkout for 10% off of orders over $159. Make sure you check them out today. It is an awesome product. I know that in studio, Matt Locke was playing around with one the other day, and he said it's absolutely amazing in construction. It's metal, it's tough, sleek, and just a fantastic product. And we really want you to check that out. Be safe with your firearm. Keep your family safe with your firearm. Keep your family safe from your firearm with the gun box. So, now that we've talked about what's going on in the UK, let's shift back a little homeward here. And I want to, if I can keep a straight face during this story, it'll be fun. Link in the description. This is a story dated May 7th that my family actually had to tell me about. My mom told me about this in the car the other day when I was driving my sister to an appointment. CNN reports, for years, Bud Light has advertised as a great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. In 2 decades of partnering with GLAAD, formerly the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, Bud Light hasn't let the community down, and makers of the light beer still haven't had their fill of equality. Oh my God, listen to the writing on this. This is just fawning, sickening praise from CNN. Bud Light will sell rainbow-colored aluminum bottles in bars nationwide from May 27th to June 30th and donate to GLAAD $1 from every case sold. Kind of makes you excited to drink some Shiner, or maybe some Coors, or maybe some MGD. I think I'm gonna run to the store and I'm gonna pick up some PBR. Yeah, good old Pabst Blue Ribbon. You know, stolen from grandfathers everywhere for over 50 years. The rainbow bottles are among Pride Month actions the company is taking this year with GLAAD. It's also a sponsor of the Governor's Ball Music Festival, May 31st to June 2nd in New York, and will host an all-LGBT lineup of performers on its own stage. The company's support of LGBT community dates back to the 1980s, said Andy Goler, Vice President of Marketing, in a new release. The way we see it, our beer is for everyone to enjoy, Goler said. With the release of these new bottles, we hope to create something everyone can feel proud to hold during Pride Month. So at what point are they going to roll out the Appletini flavored Budweiser? I'm curious. Because I can see that being bottled in a rainbow bottle and that potentially selling. Pride Month is celebrated each June. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the riots at New York's Stonewall Inn that launched the gay rights movement. Bud Light stood with the community at a time when many brands did not, and their continued outspoken support sets the bar for other global brands. Zeke Stotz, GLAAD's chief programs officer, said in a new release. Now, if you want to be supportive of a group, then you can make donations to them. I think that's a fine idea if you want to make donations to GLAAD. But this non-stop virtue signaling to groups of assumed victimhood like GLAAD, like insert LGBTQAAIP group here, it's constant, it's deafening, and it's to the point where it's simpering pandering, bending over backwards to gain the approval of that target market. It's as if Budweiser's just genuflecting before their master, saying, is this enough? Is this enough? Have we done enough yet? Here, it's a rainbow can. Like so many cities have done rainbow crosswalks and other such outward displays of virtue signaling toward their leftist liberal overlords who are demanding not just equality anymore, but now overwhelming broad spectrum social media barrages. Not just social media, but social, cultural barrages of pro-LGBTQ content seeking to hyper-normalize LGBTQ And for people of the very Christian persuasion who hold that homosexuality is a grave state of sin, of which I am a Christian man, I bear no hatred toward anyone who commits a sin. I bear hatred toward the sin itself. You know, that's an old teaching. It's you don't hate the sinner, you hate the sin. I do look at homosexuality as being in a state of grave sin. That is directly in the Bible. I'm not your daddy. You do you, and I'll do me. And we won't do each other, probably, as Markiplier once said. But I just can't get behind this bending over backwards in genuflecting, fawning praise and saying, you know, we're going to make all of our cans rainbow. And as a result, we're going to potentially turn off, you know, flyover country and customers in the deep south and central United States where, you know, you have overwhelmingly Christian cause. It just doesn't strike me as being something that a beer company of all people would want to engage in. It doesn't strike me as a good opportunity for them to pick a political side. Keep your politics out of my damn beer. I just want to drink. I don't need to take a look at the can and realize that your beer has an agenda. I mean, if you want to drink a Zima, sure. But Budweiser, of all things. So, yeah, this weekend I'm going to be tossing back a PBR. Speaking of companies that have no business doing so, taking a partisan agenda, this past week there's been a rash of milkshake attacks in the UK. Nigel Farage of the Brexit Party, formerly of the UK Independent Party, UKIP, got stuck on his Brexit Party campaign bus after people with milkshakes surrounded him. The politician is said to have refused to leave the vehicle just days after he was covered in banana and salted caramel milkshake in Newcastle. Carl Benjamin, a.k.a. Sargon of Akkad, was also attacked with a milkshake, in case you don't remember who Sargon is. That's Carl Benjamin Sargon of Akkad. 3 young men dressed in black with their hoods up were reported spotted in the crowd when the bus arrived in Rochester, Kent on Wednesday. Somebody suggested they were carrying milkshakes, and Mr. Farage was told not to get off the bus. The Brexit Party leader is said to have apparently stepped off the vehicle but didn't venture far to greet his supporters. And there are pictures all around, and you know, news organizations fawning praise on this, saying MilkShaking, the new tactic, emerges in the fight against the far right. Now, I want you to think about this. Your average, like, large milkshake that you get from Burger King or McDonald's, it's like, what, 2 pounds? And it's semi-solid because it's ice cream and liquid. So when that hits you, especially when the cup hits you, you're gonna feel it. So if you get pelted with, like, 10 of these, that's like getting rocks thrown at you. I mean, that's because the weight and the stiffness of the cup and the fact that it's not a water balloon. You know, this is not getting glitter thrown at you, even though that shit gets in your eyes. This actually has some force when you hit somebody with a full milkshake in like a 16-ounce glass. Not glass, but 16-ounce cup. And so this is happening to Nigel Farage. This is happening to Tommy Robinson. This is happening to Carl Benjamin and other figures on the right. And how long before it comes to the United States? And the leftist media is just, they're applauding. They love it. You know, throwing them at Gerard Batten and other people. Like I said, Carl Benjamin took a milkshake to the head while meeting with supporters in Totnes, Devonshire. And the police went so far as to ask McDonald's, nearby Nigel Farage's speaking event, to not offer milkshakes for that short time while that speech was going on. McDonald's complied. Burger King, however, they had a different opinion. According to the Daily Caller, 4 days ago, fast food chain restaurant Burger King appeared to endorse throwing milkshakes on political opposition over the weekend. Following reports of Brexit leader Nigel Farage taking a full frontal milkshake attack from a protester in Newcastle, Burger King UK tweeted, "Dear people of Scotland, we're selling milkshakes all weekend. Have fun. Love BK. Hashtag just saying." After the backlash that resulted, a follow-up tweet clarified saying, "We'd never endorse violence. Stop wasting our delicious milkshakes." Little late, guys. So enjoy the weekend, and please drink responsibly, people. Nice try, Burger King. Your slip is showing. I realize that everybody thinks they're going to be the next Wendy's, and they're going to have, the cheekiest, sauciest, Twitter page, but you're doing it wrong. Now, about the only thing you should be doing with a milkshake is eating it, and or drinking it. Or what do you do with a milkshake? Do you slurp? Eat, drink, or slurp? I don't know. Whatever you do with it could leave you with some tummy troubles. If you got the tummy troubles, oh boy. Quoting Dragons Love Tacos, which I read my sons constantly. But I digress. I'm going to talk to you about Atrantil. Atrantil is far more than just good for bloating and gut health. It was developed by a board-certified gastroenterologist, proven to deliver relief from bloating and symptoms related to IBS in over 4 out of 5 people. Athletes need over 1,000 milligrams of polyphenols per day. Atrantil is made from the most potent polyphenol blend. Atrantil is the only clinically proven polyphenol blend developed by a gastroenterologist. It's the only polyphenol blend that is NSF certified for sports, which means that if you're an athlete, you can trust that all the statements have been verified and all the ingredients are clean, and they deliver 250 milligrams of polyphenols per capsule. The polyphenols are essential for people who suffer from autoimmune disorders. The polyphenols in Atrantil are broken down by your gut to help you keep your whole body healthy. It limits inflammation. The polyphenols in Atrantil are great for anti-aging, and they're powerful and modeled after the Mediterranean diet. Polyphenols like the ones in Atrantil can actually help your CBD work better if you use CBD for pain relief. So you want to head over to lovemytummy.com/mojo. That's lovemytummy.com/mojo for Atrantil. With Atrantil, you get 90 capsules in a box. A box is normally $39.95. When you buy 3 boxes with our coupon code, you'll get 3 months supply of bloating and digestive relief for only $99. Save $20 on 3 boxes of Atrantil. Again, that's lovemytummy.com/mojo. lovemytummy.com/mojo. And don't miss out on that. So we have companies now like Burger King and Budweiser that are bending the knee and pledging allegiance to the leftist progressive overlords in Washington, D.C. and in London. And it's becoming more and more difficult to stand around with your head held high, to walk around with your head held high, proclaiming that you are conservative, that you're a libertarian, that you believe in what President Trump is doing, that he's fighting the good fight, that you believe in small government and conservative principles and traditional American values. You found the right home here at Mojo 50. And here at the HoloNet, I played at the beginning of every episode, we're here to hold the line against the night. The new millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now, with you. I say that every week, and I mean it. Because we do have to stand up for what we believe in, unafraid. And we do have to encourage other people to come to the table to join the conversation. The fact that we disagree is a beautiful thing in this country. We are supposed to disagree. This is a nation that is built on the concept of disagreement without violence. I repeated last week that we fight a bloodless coup in this nation, a bloodless revolution, every 4 years. And it's worked for over 2 centuries. In order to ensure that it keeps working, we must be unafraid to express our deepest held convictions, our religious convictions, our cultural convictions, all of them. If you are afraid to speak, not to speak is to speak, not to act is to act. If you are afraid to speak the truth, the unaltered truth, not your truth, but the truth, that a man is a man, that a woman is a woman, that water will wet you, that fire will burn. Go back to the old gods of the copybook headings. For as surely as water will wet you, and as surely as fire will burn, the gods of the copybook headings with terror and slaughter return. We need to disagree. We need to have differences of opinion. We need to be able to stand up and fight and scream and holler and voice and express those beliefs without violence. I say fight, obviously, I mean verbally. But chucking milkshakes at each other, come on, folks, that's basic assault. If you're chucking a weighty object at somebody, somebody's going to get friggin' hurt. And then what's it go? It's milkshakes today. What's it going to be tomorrow? It's going to be a beer bottle. We've done that in this country a couple of times. What's it going to be in the lead up to 2020? As crazy as the UK is getting right now with just their MEP elections and this trouble over Brexit, how insane is this country going to be once the Democrats settle, because you know they're going to have to settle, when they settle on somebody like Sanders, or when they settle on somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, when we get a true progressive socialist running against a conservative after President Trump, or even running against President Trump in 2020. How is that going to look when all the nuance has been removed from the debate, when all the oxygen has been sucked out, when there is no moderation available on either side, and you're forced to choose and then stand and fight? Stay on guard, my friends. Keep your heads on a swivel. Watch and listen for all that moves. And make sure you look out for the other hand and what the media is not telling you. Cap it off there. From Phoenix, I'm your host, Matt Holloway. This is the HoloNet on the mighty Mojo 50. Good night. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America. End transmission.